So you're moving to DC or you're moving within DC and you're trying to figure out what a safe area is that doesn't have a lot of crime. Well, we all would like that. And your real estate agent is probably going to tell you, or it might be me, and I'm probably going to tell you, we can't talk about what's safe and what's not safe because that's subjective and it's actually an area that real estate agents are not allowed to discuss with their clients and prospective clients. So what we're going to do today is actually ditch the subjective stuff and talk about real crime facts. So I am Melissa Terzis, DC Real Estate Mama. This is my channel. I talk about all things living in DC. So if that is your thing, you can subscribe by hitting the little notification button below. You'll be notified about new videos as I do them, which is weekly. And also, if you would like to contact me, my contact info is going to be posted below right here. And I'll also put that at the end of the video. So guess what? In 1991, Washington, D.C. won an award. Okay, it wasn't an award, but they did have the most homicides that year of any other year ever. 482 homicides in 1991 when DC was essentially like a crack den with lots of open air drug markets and all kinds of fun stuff that happened. That was the peak, and then the crime sort of just continued to go down as the city changed and the flavor of everything changed and people started to stay in the city and put their roots here and all of that, and the homicides went down tremendously over the years. Now, in 2021, there were 226 homicides. So, you know, we have another month to go, but in 2022, right now, we've logged 182 homicides. So these numbers aren't great. Obviously, we'd love to have zero. That's never going to happen, though. But they're less than half of what they were at the peak in 91. So I guess hindsight being 2020-ish, it's looking better. I don't know. Anyway, here's the thing. You can pull any number that you want and even drill down to different areas on the DC Metro Police Department website. And I'm going to link it below in the description, but just know DC changes their URLs all the time. It's super annoying. Whoever manages their IT is an actual complete moron because you'll constantly click links and then you just end up and it's like you're at a dead page or 404 error or whatever. And you'll end up in a cycle of hell trying to get from place to place. But I am going to link the main page where everything sort of feeds off of that we're going to talk about today. Now let's take a trip back to 2019. Do you remember those lovely, lovely days before COVID? It was so nice and wonderful. We had no idea what was about to happen to us. Well, in 2019, there were 164 homicides. There was 1,569 assault with a deadly weapon, 2,232 robberies, and 2,181 motor vehicle thefts. These numbers have not changed significantly over the last few years, except for one number that I would like to point out. In 2020, motor vehicle theft went to 3,258. Okay, now don't forget that we just came off of 2019, which was 2,181. So there's more than 1,000 more motor vehicle thefts in 2020. In 2021, the number actually went up again from 3,258 up to 3,474 vehicles stolen in DC. So far, through the end of November 22, they've got the number at 3,222. So we're probably tracking pretty well for exactly what 2021 did, which means our numbers are up. Like, they are up. All right, so what's happening? Well, I mean, the same thing in a lot of respects that's happening in the rest of the country and a lot of other areas. Idle hands are the devil's workshop. I don't even know where that came from because I'm not religious. But anyway, how can you do your own research? Well, here's a very good source of information that you can use. So DC offers something on their website called the Crime Map. And the Crime Map is a very useful resource. It's actually here. It's a crime map. They call it crime cards now. But the map is incredibly useful. And so here is what it looks like. So the color bar at the bottom, and once you click into this, you end up getting to this map here. So the color bar at the bottom of this shows you this continuum of, let me move my head over on this screen. Yellow is where there's minimal amount of crimes, all the way up to purple where it's high crime. So right here, if you zoom in on these squares, particular note here is that from 11th to 16th Street in Northwest and S to W Street is this brightest color purple right here. You can zoom in on that, or you can actually, I have to move my little head again, you can zoom in on this stuff here. And so the thing is that this is all crimes, right? And so this is showing everything. The purple square also happens to be a very busy commercial area. So it's good. This is including now everything, which would be like theft from stores and things like that. All right, so let me zoom back out on this and get this to normal. Now, what you want to do is you want to change this up here and shift to, instead of all crimes, you can pick, right? So let's say we go to homicides and pick okay. Well, look at that. So look where the most homicides are. They end up coming over here to this area, which is east of the river. The average for homicides is 2, showing right here in the middle. The max is 9. And so we can zoom in on this square and kind of see where that is. And that would be essentially this area right here, north of Mississippi Avenue, which is what people call east of the river. Okay. So let's zoom back out. Now, that was homicides with a gun. Now you can go back to all, and then you can switch this to just violent crimes, and you can see, you have to hit OK, you can see where the violent crimes are. So it depends kind of what you're looking for, but you can use this map for that. Now, the city is divided into 7 different police districts, and within each district, here they are here, or there are multiple service areas. So each of these different colors here on the map has a different police station that they report into. So you're going to see that there's smaller service areas here in the middle where the population is more dense. And they also maybe happen to sort of line up with where there might be like more crime. So you can match that up to the map as well to try to figure out, all right, what kind of neighborhood am I looking at, and how does that look? All right, so now, Metro Police also put out every year a report. So the report that was for 2021 shows here on page 22 and 23. I have messed up. I've got above. All right, so 22 and 23 by each of those districts. So here's the 7 districts that it's divided into. So, and then you go over to this and you can see, you can drill down even further and see what kind of crimes are happening in each district. So there's different stories that can definitely be told in each area. So in early 2021, Metro Police, MPD, created a special task force comprised of detectives who were experienced in violent crimes and robberies to address the rise in carjackings and auto thefts. The information was included in their year-end report on their progress and accomplishments. So the main issue here is that firearms are the problem. 186 firearms were used in crimes in 2021. That number has been steadily rising since 2017, which seemed like the good old days when it was just 89 firearms used in the commission of a crime. Right now, ghost guns, which are untraceable, are the biggest issue that are facing the DC police right now. But Melissa, you live in the city. I do. The rise in crime has been on my radar, especially when I hear of carjackings where there are children in the car. This does not a happy DC real estate mama make at all. At all. This is very scary. I've been on a multi-year personal research project about crime and essentially how to ensure that my family does not become a victim of one. And so this is a topic that I could discuss for probably days or weeks, but it boils down to this. Crimes happen when 3 things are in place. A criminal needs means, motive, opportunity. Okay? Here's the bad news. You can't do anything about means and motive, right? So if the criminal has the motive that they want to do something, there's nothing you can do. They've already decided that they want to commit a crime. If they have the means to do it, let's say they've got a weapon or they've got a getaway vehicle or whatever it might be, again, there's nothing you can do. But what you can do is eliminate the opportunity. And that is absolutely something that I am 100% on board with. Am I afraid? No, I'm not afraid. I'm hyper vigilant of my surroundings at all times. And the goal is to make sure that I never provide the opportunity for somebody to commit a crime against me, my person, my family, or my things, right? There's a saying that says, don't bring a knife to a gunfight. And so my thing is, I don't even want to be at the fight. Like, I don't care what I bring to the fight. I'm just hoping that I'm never there. And so that's really what the goal is, right? I want to stay out of the path of everything entirely. And that means that you have to do your research. Another thing to note, I've parked my car on the streets in DC for 20 years. When I first moved into the city, somebody told me something that has served me very well, which is do not leave anything on your car seats that can be viewed from the outside, to include like a CD, right? An 8-track tape. It doesn't matter what it is. If a criminal sees something and there's no one else around, they've got the means and the motive. They have now the opportunity, and you've given them something that looks like a gem in that car. Criminals open car doors and they check cars for spare change just for whatever reason. And if you leave your car door unlocked, which sometimes happens with us, like, you know, these fobs get hit when you're in your pocket and you don't know that it unlocked the car out on the street. We've come out and found that people have gone through and rifled through our glove box and other things looking for money or whatever they're looking for. I don't know. Anyway, that's just another thing. Keep the opportunity off the table. Remove it entirely. All right, so now because I'm a mama, I got to talk about the school safety. Yes, I live in DC. I have kids that are in school in DC, and I do want to talk a little bit about school safety here. So there are school safety reports on this website that I will link, and it's going to be linked below, but has the statistics and everything for the Metro Police. The last one completed was in the school year of 2020. That ended 2020, so that's right when we kind of went into lockdown for COVID. They haven't done one since then. The DC Police, though, managed 325 security guards as of that report, so it's probably changed a little bit up or down, I'm not sure, in 116 different facilities. There's supposed to be a coordinated effort between MPD, which is Metro Police again, and the school to identify what's needed. But that doesn't always work out quite well. So some schools have guards who are great and some schools do not. That's just kind of what it is. Yours truly, I'm such a lovely, sweet person. Sarcastic. I don't know why this would ever happen to me, but I've actually been chased across school grounds by one of our former security guards. My child did not want to wake up that day, and it was 1 minute past the start of school time. At 8:46, she was supposed to be there at 8:45. Instead of going to the front door, which they were going to then check her temperature, do all of that, and then send her into the office where she had to wait for an adult to walk her down through the school outside to the trailer where her classroom is on the yard of the school grounds, would have been 15 minutes. Whereas I could have gotten her into school by 8:47, she'd only missed 2 minutes of school, not 15. The security guards did not like this. They were not a fan of me. And then they ended up chasing me across school grounds, demanding to know my name, who I was, who my child was. I just laughed. I'm sorry. This is my thing. I just tell my kids, you've got to trust your instincts. And my instincts at that point said I would be much happier walking you to the door of your classroom than I would letting your safety or your education fall in somebody else's hands right now. I'm mom. I'm taking care of this. And then note that I did say former security guard. Apparently I wasn't the only one that didn't love that kind of treatment. The general sense of the relationship with those former security guards at the school wasn't good. They had their favorites. They treated some people like fantastic and other people like they were the pariah and not allowed in the school. It didn't go over well. Getting them replaced was apparently a long road, but we had an amazing principal at our school, and she was able to make that happen. Kudos to her. She's awesome. So when it comes to crime in the city, I've actually prepared myself mentally as much as I can. What I can't control, obviously, are my kids. Like, I don't have them in my purview, like, all day long. So you've just got to watch DCPS, right? If you didn't know, you kind of have to sort of stay on top of some stuff. I just find that their approach to this is questionable at best. For instance, all parent volunteers have to be background checked and fingerprinted. That's great, right? Okay, I've been through that process and I can chaperone field trips. But then bus drivers and substitute teachers can somehow show up drunk or be verbally abusive to kids, and you're not there in front of them to defend the kids. So like my daughter, who by all counts, I mean, she's pretty soft-spoken, had asked to go to the bathroom, and a substitute for the library, I don't even know why you need a substitute for a library, but whatever, told her she couldn't go, but then like other kids asked and they let those kids go. And like, why? And I said to her, just leave. Like, you have to go, you have to go. Don't let anybody tell you this. Like, you know, this is my thing. You can't look at these people in these perceived positions of power when they're doing things that don't make sense. Like, just leave and I will protect you and go in and defend what happened. Anyway, this is the kind of nonsense that happens, and it's just stuff that you sort of have to make sure you stay on top of and tell your kids, here's things that are right and here's things that are not right. And we definitely have had a lot of like learning lessons. A couple weeks ago, there was a field trip with the elementary school up the street from us. The bus actually crashed on the way home. Yeah, and it turns out that the driver was drunk. He was arrested. They sent another bus to come pick those kids up, but they found out that that driver's license was not in compliance. And then they terminated the contract apparently with the bus company because they said that their vehicles were unsafe. I mean, I could have told you that. I've been on a bus where it was raining outside and also raining inside. Yeah. So having ridden on them and seeing how broken down they are, I've seen them where they're duct tape holes through the floor. Like, I don't understand. Like, there's a hole in the floor of the bus and there's duct tape covering it. Like, how's that even safe? I already kind of had one foot out of this field trip nonsense, and I'm sort of the mindset that, like, I probably would just drive my kids to any field trip coming up. Recently, we got a notice. There's a field trip coming up that's taking the kids to go ice skating in a part of DC that, if you refer to the crime map, it's kind of purple there. It's a really good candidate for a neighborhood where there could be gun violence. I don't understand why this is even a field trip. So I just replied and said that my child will be staying home that day. You just have to make these decisions for yourself. Like, I certainly don't want to get that phone call that there was something that happened. And I'm not even that mom. Like, I'm not that person. Like, I normally just kind of think, like, let me just, you know, go with the flow and all of that. But you start to think about these things and you're like, you know what? I'm the only one that's really going to be responsible for my child's safety. And I have to make sure that I stay on top of that. So the streets are safe here. If you pay attention to the crime map and you stay alert and you don't keep your head buried in your phone while you're walking around, then you should be okay. You just want to stay alert. But when it comes to schools and safety, I think DC Public Schools and Metro Police, to the extent that they're involved, could do a better job with it. So low marks from this mama. As I said, you would have to advocate for your kid. But overall, if you follow everything that I've kind of talked about, you look at the crime map, you figure out how comfortable you are with the level of crime that might be there, you should be fine. If you have any questions, my contact info is coming next, and I'm more than happy to chat about anything that you have questions about in DC and the metro area. Thanks.